So let's get things off by setting the clock. And by setting the clock, I'm talking about designating the workday for your business. So the Division of Labor Standards Enforcement defines the workday as a consecutive 24-hour period, beginning at the same time each calendar day, but it may begin at any time of day. The beginning of an employee's workday does not need to coincide with the beginning of that employee's shift. An employer may establish different workdays for different shifts. However, once a workday is established, it may be changed only if the change is intended to be permanent and the change is not designed to evade overtime obligations. So that's a long way of saying that a workday is a 24-hour window you choose. So it could be midnight to midnight, 3 a.m. to 3 a.m., whatever works, so long as it stays the same every single day. If you do not designate a workday, your workday is presumed to be from 12:01 a.m. to midnight. So think of it as your default setting, which works for many businesses, but may not be ideal or right for your business. So it's something to look into and make sure that it works. So we started things off by looking at the workday. And so now we'll zoom out a bit and look at the work week. The DLSE defines a work week as any 7 consecutive days, starting with the same calendar day each week, beginning at any hour on any day, so long as it's fixed and regularly occurring. A work week is fixed and regularly recurring period of 168 hours, which is 7 consecutive 24-hour periods. I'll do the math for you. An employer may establish different work weeks for different employees, but once an employee's work week is established, it remains fixed regardless of his or her working schedule. An employee's work week may be changed only if the change is intended to be permanent and is not designed to evade employers' overtime obligation. Here, if you do not designate a work week, there is a presumption, and the presumption is that it's from 12:01 a.m. Sunday to midnight on Saturday, with each workday ending at midnight. And again, this is the default setting, which again works for many businesses, but may not be right for your business. So you want to make sure you are designating a work day and a work week that works for your business and that that designation is in writing. So now the fun part, paying extra. So in addition to the federal weekly rule, which entitles non-exempt employees to overtime for all hours worked in excess of 40 in a work week, California adds daily overtime on top of that federal weekly rule. So in California, overtime is owed to non-exempt employees at a rate of 1.5 times the employee's regular rate of pay. That's for all hours worked in excess of 8 hours and up to and including 12 hours in a workday, as well as the first 8 hours worked on the 7th consecutive day of work in a work week. Double time is owed to non-exempt employees at a rate of 2 times their regular rate of pay for all hours worked beyond 12 in a workday and all hours worked beyond 8 on the 7th consecutive day of work in a work week. So you can think of this as the thank you tax for non-exempt workaholics. We've just talked about overtime, and if you were paying attention, and I'm sure that you were, you likely picked up on the fact that overtime and double time are calculated based on the employee's regular rate of pay. Now that's different and not to be confused with the employee's base hourly wage. So think of regular rate of pay as an employee's true average hourly earnings for all the work they did in a work week. It captures every form of pay that California and federal law say must be counted, not just the employee's base hourly wage. So basically, regular rate of pay is calculated by dividing the employee's total weekly earnings by the total hours worked that week. And in calculating the total weekly earnings, employers must include and account for base hourly wages, shift differentials, piece rate earnings, production bonuses, which are non-discretionary bonuses that typically reward measurable output, like for example, $50 per 100 widgets over your weekly quota. You must also account for attendance bonuses. These are also known as flat sum bonuses, and these are non-discretionary bonuses that tend to reward presence and or punctuality. So for example, a $15 bonus for working a Saturday or for working a Sunday. So we've talked about the things that are to be included in calculating regular rate of pay. What about what's excluded from that calculation? So we exclude things like discretionary bonuses, gifts, reimbursements for expenses, payments not for hours actually worked. So that would include things like jury duty, vacation and PTO or paid time off, meal and rest break premiums, reporting time pay and split shift premiums. And it also excludes tips. This is not intended to be an exhaustive list of things that are excluded. So if you have any questions, consult with legal counsel. Determining the regular rate of pay is critical because it serves as the benchmark for several things, several important things. Overtime, meal and rest break premiums, paid sick leave, reporting time pay. And what that means is if the regular rate of pay is miscalculated, each of those payments I just listed will also be wrong. So determining the regular rate of pay is critical. It's also important to ensure that your employees are earning at least minimum wage, because it should come as no surprise. In no case may the regular rate of pay be less than the applicable minimum wage. So in light of the importance of properly determining the regular rate of pay, California employers should invest time and resources in reviewing their policies and pay practices to ensure they're getting the regular rate calculation right. And again, if you have questions, consult with legal counsel.